Which quarterback needs a win the most?
It's Matthew Stafford, the only quarterback that took a flight to a new destination and better take flight in these playoffs or else they're going to try and send him back to the old destination. Oh, Matthew Stafford, the pressure's on you. This is a past, present, future conversation in terms of Matthew Stafford. He comes in from the haunted house of the 0-3 playoff experience in Detroit. But everyone blamed the house. No one blamed Matthew Stafford walking through the haunted house being scared as hell, not playing well and playing up to his abilities. That's fine. Let's blame Detroit. Take a flight. Leave Detroit, come to Los Angeles. You come to Los Angeles and land, and you have a genius coach waiting for you. You have a loaded roster, a Super Bowl contending roster. All of a sudden, you see stars everywhere. They even add a star. They add Odell Beckham Jr. to the roster once you're here. All of that said, and you're in Los Angeles, not Detroit. Not Detroit, Los Angeles. And now you're in a position where you reminded them that it wasn't just the house that was haunted. Maybe you got some issues as well. Look at Matthew Stafford this year. Second most giveaways of all players in the NFL. Matthew Stafford? I thought that was a Detroit haunted house issue. We got you removed from that situation. So he's reminded them of all of his issues in Detroit. Now, this is what present day we're sitting there looking at Matthew Stafford. Are you going to exercise those demons? Are you going to be 1-3 in the playoffs? You got the roster. You got the coach. You got everything you need. Let's go out there and ball out. But here's the future. If Matthew Stafford is one and done in these playoffs, imagine that the Rams lose to the Cardinals. And Jared Goff just sends out a tweet, I beat the Cardinals. Imagine how that feels. But more importantly, Matthew Stafford is still your quarterback going forward. He's your leader going forward. You imagine a quarterback who's now 0-4 in the playoffs, who is the same guy that he was in Detroit, just dressed up better in L.A., and then he try to say, next year, bring it up, guys, come on in. Man, stop. You know what this is going to remind me of? When Tony Romo, after he fumbled the snap in Seattle, a lot of his leadership went out the door because people are like, dog, in the greatest moment, in the moment we needed you most, you can't fumble that away. Matthew Stafford knows that his past is already written. That resume is done. Now he's reminding them that that past may not be behind him. And more importantly, if he don't show up this weekend, bro, his future ain't going to be pretty.
I love that take, and it is incredibly hard to disagree with, so I will not. I will just give you my answer. I think Jimmy Garoppolo has the most to play for this weekend because Jimmy Garoppolo is the only quarterback who's playing for money, and he's playing for $25 million. Of all the quarterbacks playing in this playoffs, Jimmy G is the only one that doesn't have any guaranteed money next year. Well, also Aaron Rodgers, but I can guarantee you Aaron Rodgers will be making money next year.
Right.
So Jimmy G is the only quarterback that doesn't have guaranteed money next year, and he has a $25 million deal hanging in the balance for the 49ers. $25 million contract next year, but none of it's guaranteed. If Jimmy G goes out there and plays well against the Cowboys, maybe wins another playoff game, the Niners aren't going to get rid of Jimmy G. Can't get rid of a guy who played through a broken thumb in a must-win game, rallied your troops from down 17-0 and won in Week 18 against the Rams, got you to the playoffs. Then still with the broken thumb, goes to Dallas, beats the Dallas Cowboys, out-dueling Dak Prescott in the #1 offense in football, wins a playoff game on the road. You can't get rid of that quarterback. Jimmy G has $25 million hanging in the balance of this game this weekend.
Yeah.
That is a lot to play for. Now, Joe Burrow has to get a playoff win, but even if he doesn't, he's still going to be thought of highly, still going to be playing next year. Matthew Stafford, of course, needs to get a playoff win. Even if he doesn't, still going to be paid next year. Dak Prescott desperately needs a playoff win. He cannot start 1-3 in the playoffs. But even if he doesn't, he's still Gucci. His check is still going to cash. Jimmy G is the only quarterback who, if he does not win this weekend, he might lose $25 million. Not might. He will lose $25 million. For that reason, Sel, to me, it's Jimmy G.
Oh, I don't know, man. Jimmy G got that fire agent, same agent as Tom Brady, same consultant as Bob Kraft. Jimmy G only has started, 7 games? It was the highest paid player in NFL history. Let's just say he's done a little more since then. And let's just say that was a $28 million a year contract. I think that his floor is still going to be high, even though it's not going to be as high if he goes out there and wins. I understand what you're saying, but Jimmy G's been in the Super Bowl before. Jimmy G has had moments. Jimmy G has some Midas touch that you can't really quantify. There's something about Jimmy G that I think he's going to land on his feet. Matthew Stafford don't have to land on his feet. But they might want to send him packing and he can land in Detroit again if he doesn't come out here and do better than he did in Detroit. Be real about this. Oh, God. I'm so glad that I wasn't, only for this reason, that I wasn't a superstar elite player. Because then people would think, why are you always punching down? I was a above average at times player, right? So I could talk bad about good players and bad players. I was one of y'all, and I was one of y'all. Oh, boy. Quarterbacks that have won the Super Bowl. Tell me if Matthew Stafford is better than Brad Johnson, Mark Ripien, Jeff Hostetler, my man, Trent Dilfer. Okay. Quarterbacks that won a playoff game at least. John Wolford Reserve. I'll take that on the rocks. Blake Bortles. Chris Chandler. Damn. Aaron Brooks. Tim Tebow won a playoff game. Come on, man. Look at this list. You know whose name I can't say right now? Matthew Stafford. So I just think, as you told me about Dak Prescott and reputation, sometimes it's just the company you keep. And if you look at Matthew Stafford, if he goes out there and he's 0-4, do you know the company that he will keep? Worse than the names that I just mentioned. That's not good enough.
But think about this for a second. We already have the excuses built in for Stafford. Man, it was his first year in L.A., man. Come on, big dog. He just got here. McVay and him, it's just got here. He lost his number 2 wide receiver, Van Jefferson. OBJ still learning the system. Cam Akers tore his Achilles in July. His starting running back is out here with the partially torn Achilles that he's still trying to rehab. I mean, come on, man. Matthew Stafford, give him grace. One more year. Hope for him. Jimmy G, if he messes around and gets hurt, right? Say Jimmy G gets hurt in this game. We already have our minds made up of who Jimmy G is supposed to be. So I heard this one time, and let me know if it's true, let me know if it's not. Personalizing things, my favorite parts of the show. Yes. Someone told me the biggest indicator of whether or not a relationship will work, the biggest indicator is.
How far she? Oh, okay. I'm listening.
The biggest indicator is this. Do you look at your partner when they make a mistake and assume that is who they are? Or you look at your partner when they make a mistake and you assume that mistake is not indicative of who they are. That's the biggest indicator for a success in a relationship. Do you assume the best of your partner or do you assume the worst of your partner? If you tell me if you're late, well, you're always late. Or if you're late, oh, something must have occurred. That's why they were late. Do you assume the best or do you assume the worst? That's the indicator of success in a relationship. We assume the worst of Jimmy G.
Yes.
When Jimmy G messed up his thumb, here we go again. Russell Wilson messed up his thumb, and we were like, oh, how did that happen? Yeah. Not Russell Wilson, who hasn't missed a start. If Jimmy G goes out there and plays great, oh, wow, he played great. Interesting. I can't believe he did that. If Matthew Stafford plays bad, oh, well, that's can't be Matthew Stafford. Surely he'll play well next time. Because we look at Matthew Stafford, and we always look at him from a positive lens. If Matthew Stafford plays poorly, well, that's not Matthew Stafford. But if Jimmy G plays poorly, man, that's Jimmy G. So because relationship success is predicated based upon how we view an individual, we already view Matthew Stafford positively, and we view Jimmy G negatively. So if Stafford plays poorly, we'll just cast it out as an outlier. If Jimmy G plays poorly, that's who Jimmy G is. If Stafford plays well, that's who Stafford is. If Jimmy G plays well, that was an outlier. That's why I think, Stel, it's more on Jimmy G than it is Stafford because of the narrative of who we already believe them to be.
Tremendous. Can I just put something next to that?
Please do.
And not disturb what you just did? Don't disturb this groove. I won't disturb that. I'm over here. There's only one thing worse than assuming about a quarterback, assuming about a person, assuming about a significant other.
Talk to me.
Is when you know, and what you know ain't good. Because assuming is making an ass out of you and me.
Yes, sir.
But when you know, you're just making an ass out of you. Because me, I already know who you are. Oh, if you 0-4, I ain't got to assume nothing. But, bruh, 2 different places, and now you're 0-4. You've already had more giveaways and touchdowns in the 3 games prior. Who knows what you'll do in this game if you lose it? You have 4 pick sixes this year. You've already reminded us that your past is present. I just don't know how it's going to go. See, this is the thing. When you have a leader that you doubt, then where are you going? And I think if you're the Los Angeles Rams, if we doubt you in critical moments, where are we going? Not just this weekend, but going forward.